Well, I guess the win one for Chip Kelly battle cry actually had an effect. No, Mike Trout is not coming to the Dodgers, stop it. And oh, by the way, Phillip Rivers and his wife welcome their 10th kid. 10. Good morning, I'm James. 10 kids. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. 10 kids. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. It is November 19th, 2023. I write down numbers all over this sheet. I keep seeing the number 10 pop up in my head. 10 kids. But anyway, it is also Sunday, the Lord's Day. Take a moment and thank God for all the blessings that you have in your life, like LA sports. And if you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, 10 kids. By all means, comment. I like hearing from you. Meanwhile, we're going to take a look at the scoreboard. UCLA, it was an absolute mauling, defeating USC 38-20. You could actually argue Ethan Garbers outplayed Caleb Williams. Oh, sure, Williams threw for way more yards. Garbers threw 3 touchdowns and no picks. The Bruins defense limited the Trojans rushing to 3 yards, and the Trojans have lost 5 of their last 6. Meanwhile, 5 different Kings scored. St. Louis loses in LA, Kings 5, St. Louis 1. Adrian Kempe with a goal and an assist. Meanwhile today, Seattle is playing the Rams at 125. Matthew Stafford is back, but the Rams have lost 3 in a row. Keenan Allen, it was just reported, will be playing for the Chargers today. They're in Green Bay at 10 o'clock. Houston is at the Lakers at 6:30. LeBron James is questionable due to a calf issue. And what can Brown do for USC? Basketball. Brown and USC hoops, 5 o'clock. UCLA played about as complete a football game as could be expected, as probably we've seen in years. Got to be real about that. They didn't turn the ball over. USC committed 3 turnovers, including a fumble that was returned for a touchdown by Alex Johnson. The Trojans literally looked like Alex Grinch was still running the show. For example, UCLA, they rushed for 199 rushing yards. TJ Harden rushed for 142. USC, again, 3 rushing yards. Absolute mauling. Absolutely. And I got to tell you, I mean, yesterday when I was doing this clip, I found out last minute that Ethan Garbers was probably going to start for UCLA. And I was like, you know what? That gives them a really good shot now. I didn't expect this. It's nuts. And by the way, when you're in a rivalry college football game, the team that wins and loses, there's going to be echoes for both teams, because this is something that impacts things like recruiting and all the other stuff. But for example, for UCLA, does anybody now believe the reports that Chip Kelly is going to be fired now? Do you? After that? After that booty whooping? You know, Chip Kelly, 2 of the last 3 years, has done this to USC. So, beating your rival like that? No. By the way, Kelly told the scribes that the athletic director, Martin Jarmond, said reports about Kelly's job security are inaccurate and inappropriate. So there's that. Second reaction, I believe defensive lineman Leatu's draft stock might be top 10 right now, because getting to the quarterback is a definite must in the NFL. And Leatu got Caleb Williams twice. The elusive Caleb Williams. They got him 4 times overall. If anything, though, if I were a Bruins fan, I would look back at the season. You have one regular season game and a bowl game coming up, but I would look back at this season, and I think that the coaching staff sabotaged the team with 2 personnel errors in terms of offensive skill. The first one would have to be Dante Moore over Garbers, in retrospect. If Garbers were under center, could you easily imagine 1 or 2 of those losses getting overturned? Right? For that matter, Carson Steele over Harden. But you look back now, and you know what? That's straight up spilled milk. It would not surprise me now to see the Bruins literally just take the bowl game that USC was projected to go to, and then the Trojans wind up going to the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl or something like that. Now, if you're a USC fan, take a moment Matter of fact, 5 moments. Breathe deeply. Now, I'm not going to tell you everything's going to be okay. I can't. It isn't. Because this particular game, not the one against Oregon, not the one against Washington or whatever, defined all of the shortcomings on this roster and the coaching staff. All of them. For example, do you really believe now that Sean Nua or Brian Odom will be elevated to defensive coordinator? Do you? I don't. What about not having a special teams coordinator all year? That bit him too. In my opinion, for USC to rebuild, one of the major steps after hiring a quality defensive coordinator is rebuilding the offensive line through traditional high school recruiting cycles. Because let me tell you something, they rebuilt the rest of their team pretty quickly through the transfer portal. But if you think back to last season, Lincoln Riley comes to USC. What did USC have? We have breaking Dodgers news I'll get to in a moment. What did USC have? They had a ready-made offensive line for them. Ready-made. So, yeah, you can't build a unit through the portal, transfer portal. You can get elite individual talent, but you have to have a band of brothers up front. You have to have people who know what the right hand has to know what the left is doing. You can't just put randos up there and expect to dominate. Further, Caleb Williams has to give strong consideration to returning next year, in my opinion. If he wants to go to the NFL, that's his call. But I don't know if he's the number 1 NFL pick right now. Because if you look at Caleb Williams' year, he has faced 2 legit defenses all year long. Notre Dame and UCLA. And he face planted both times. I don't think he's the number 1 overall pick now. I really don't. And by the way, if he can't perform at a high level versus those 2 defenses, what about an elite NFL defense? Anyone? And if you're saying, James, did you just question USC in every facet of the game? You're right. I did. Because if it weren't for a failed 2-point conversion from Cal, and if it weren't for a 3 overtime victory against Arizona, USC wouldn't even be bowl eligible. They wouldn't be 7-5. They'd be 5-7. So if you're saying that alarm bells should be ringing all across Heritage Hall, you're absolutely right. It's not a good football team at all in any phase of the game. Now, I mentioned a moment ago that there's breaking Dodgers news. It's not exactly about a Dodger, but we were listing players that are alleged free agents the Dodgers want to go after. There's one that they will not be able to go after. It has just been reported from ESPN that Aaron Nola and the Phillies are in agreement on a 7-year, $172 million contract. Aaron Nola will not be coming to the LA Dodgers. And that's important, by the way, because as you remember, when I'm back home, I have this giant whiteboard and I start scribbling down all the names that the scribes say the Dodgers are going to move heaven and earth to get. And I don't do it to hype you guys up about an amazing Dodgers offseason. I do it to show you how hyperbolic sports writers are, how they may be professional, how they may have went to a journalism school and graduated magna cum laude ass, but they're vulnerable to clickbait just as much as anybody else. And for clickbait, it was about Aaron Nola. And by the way, it's also about this one thing that popped up yesterday. Some scribe I had never heard of said that the Dodgers are being ultra, super duper, scooper aggressive because they were going to go out and they were going to get both Shohei Ohtani as a free agent and then trade for Mike Trout. No, it's not happening. And by the way, had Aaron Nola not just signed, we would have put Mike Trout on that board, and that would have been 32 effing names. 32 players that the Dodgers are allegedly interested in. It's impossible. Now, ask yourself, okay, maybe they do back up about a dozen Brinks trucks up to Shohei Ohtani to lure him up the road, right? Fine. But in this rumor of them getting both Ohtani and Trout, you have to have hopium spilling out of every orifice in your body. Because to buy that rumor, you have to believe that Artie Moreno is perfectly fine letting both of his franchise players go to the LA Dodgers. Do you really believe that? There was a story last year that the Dodgers put together this major trade package for Shohei Ohtani, and the GM was like, wow, this is great. And Marty Moreno said, hell no. So you really think that the Dodgers are going to put together this amazing trade package for Mike Trout? Artie Moreno will never let it happen. So stop it. Freaking scribes. I'm still having trouble grasping with reality right now. A lot of things have happened in life lately, some I'm not particularly happy about. That didn't make me lose my grip on reality. Phillip Rivers and his wife having 10 kids makes me want to lose my grip on reality. 10 kids. I mean, I have friends who are teachers, right? And I mean, I think about that because like there's a lot of people out there who are really crapping on the public teachers. Some of the complaints are absolutely valid. But if you really think about it, they're looking after over 30 of your kids. If I had to look after 10 every day, put the bullet right here. I don't want to do it. I don't even hate kids. I like kids. That many? I keep asking myself, what the hell is up with Mrs. Rivers? I'm not saying that she's sabotaging and tricking him every single time. But 10 kids? How passionate is that marriage? Is it like 9.5 weeks? Because up until yesterday, they had 9.5 kids. For Pete's sake. And how long does Phillip Rivers last? 9.5 seconds? Pull out, dude. Pull out. 9.5 seconds. 10 kids. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. You got to figure too, it's like, what do they do? Make a game out of it? Does Phillip Rivers, like in the delivery room, go back in the shotgun formation and Mrs. Rivers just fires a kid right into the breadbasket? 10 kids. 10 kids. Russell Westbrook of the Clippers allegedly volunteered to come off the bench for the Clippers in order to achieve more balance in the lineup, have Terrence Mann go in there instead of 2 point guards. And I got to tell you something, that is about as idiotic as the Dodgers rumors I've been sharing with you, because I'm seriously skeptical. Maybe Russell Westbrook did volunteer to go to the bench, but the Clippers had lost like 5-6 games in a row. That's not Russell Westbrook's fault. That's trading for James Harden's fault. Why does Russell Westbrook have to be the fall guy in this situation? And are you really trying to get me to believe that Russell Westbrook absolutely fell on the sword for that? Color me skeptical. Tyronn Lue, meanwhile, told Paul George that he is not a glue guy, to be more aggressive. In so many words. Quote, "You're an effing bad mother effer." Tyronn Lue is talking to Paul George like he's Black Dynamite, like he's Shaft. Really? Strange things going on with the Clips, I must say. The NWSL is expanding. There will be an expansion draft for 2 new teams that will be held on December 15th. But it is unlikely that Angel City FC will be damaged heavily by it. The reason that I bring that up is you're allowed to protect 9 players on the roster, and free agents are also protected. Now, they did not list the number of players, or I should say the names of the players that were exposed. But after you look at the free agents, after you look at the 9 players that Angel City FC protected, there are literally only 2 players that are eligible to be taken from Angel City FC in the expansion draft. By the way, we mentioned the Rams earlier. Bobby Brown is off the injured reserve list, and he will play on the defensive line for the Rams today. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example, about what this game yesterday meant for both UCLA and USC. Talk to me if you actually believe Mike Trout is going to be with the Dodgers. And if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully I won't be having this cold. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.